This one, I'm friends with the people that program the factory's machines. And what was I going to say about the police in Canada? Well, it's gotten to the point in Canada where the police don't even need to have, many of the police don't even need to have guns anymore. Yeah, we do need some that have guns, but nowadays not every PC needs to carry a pistol, believe it or not. That's my opinion. It's gotten way out of control with some of them. Like the United Kingdom. The United States got it pretty good on their toes with gun control down there, keeping it down there and whatnot. The United Kingdom have a lot of officers that walk around with no firearm. They walk around with their baton and things, and maybe some mace and whatnot, and that's the standard police. Then they have to call those higher ups, which may be some of you guys that have the 223s and whatnot. If need be, they call them, if need be. But majority are dealing with a standard officer, no firearm to discharge on anybody. They're generally just, and they don't abuse their authority either. People see them and they um respect them, and they're held accountable, and you're held accountable as well. But there's no intimidation factor of life and death right away. You're generally treated as a fair human being from the get-go, and generally they don't need to bring out those things that God's finger, God's hand necessarily is what is generally what it's thought to be as, where they have to make that godly decision. Now, down in the United States, they're dealing with a lot of firearms because it's like the wild, wild west down there to a certain degree, and standard citizens can own firearms there, so they have to carry more because they have such a wide amount of people that are carrying out there. Kind of like the wild, wild west. They used to come into town and you could shoot the sheriff. I shot the sheriff and all that and whatnot kind of vibe down there. The cops keep it right on them at all times. And you got ones that they got the bad guys down there big time. And they have them here too, but we don't have them as much here. But they're coming up. They're coming up. But what's going on is some of the main officers are sort of like you have our standard citizens, and then I think they've teamed up with the bad guys, some of them, and now they're trying to enslave the citizens and whatnot, or mistreat them and whatnot. And something's got to be done about that in Canada because we have the guns to. Well, they say, well, they'll come up from the United. They're coming up to the United States and taking advantage of our citizens, and then, well, then the females are having sex with them and all that, and then it's causing a whole rift and corruption going on. Yep. Which has to be, which so we either have to legalize guns again in Canada so our citizens aren't taken advantage of. See, back in 1979, everybody in Canada could have a gun. So some say we should go back to 1977, I mean, and prior, and to where every citizen in Canada that owns property and things, anything worth money, should be able to protect it by firearm, since we have these really bad police. Or we can take away the firearms from all our main PCs, or they're known as or CPs, or yeah, PC police constables and things, and so then they are on the same playing field as the average citizen, just like they're the ones. Well, they're there around the average citizen. They're not around the guerrilla warfare ones that are around in certain areas. And if it does get to that situation where they have to call it in, they can call it in. The dispatch is right there. Everything's there to call it in. Nothing's that serious where they need to call it in around here. Not that I've seen with my own eyes. You tell me. You're the professional. You're the professional at seizures. I've never seen these things. I've only seen them on the TV, the seizures of the multiple firearms and things. But what is that? Is that just a way to enslave the people? Because that's the way we found it. Were those firearms that you seized good firearms held by good people? Or were they illegal firearms being around illegal activities and being used to commence illegal activities? And were they there to protect illegal activities? And that's what the debate is. And, does this guy really know what he's talking about in that sense to a certain degree? Because there's people that have been taken advantage of and that are enslaved in this country. Not me, but they try to. They try to. And there's a group of people that are in this country that are paying mortgages or may just be living that they're trying their hardest to enslave in this country. And now's the time to act now. We can bring it all the way back where we get rid of those ones trying to enslave us in our country. Because we can either bring back the firearms like 1977 and prior, which I think is the best option, where I was saying 35 years old, you could go and buy a firearm in Canada without the possession acquisition license, certain ones, lower end shotguns and rifles and things. And then maybe get your PAL to own the tactical versions of those. That would be a better option. That way, ones that are at home, antiquity firearms, you have no line of defense with somebody with a new it's almost like putting a Ferrari with the oil in it compared to a junker with no oil in it. And that's what they're doing to people. Even though I got just as much money as you and you got just as much money as me, I have just as much. I could buy the nicest firearm with the amount of money I have, but the law states that I can't. So then somebody with nothing can go buy that illegally or whatever and come and kill me, even though I have a good business and people rely on me. No, that doesn't make sense. Especially when we're borders with this country. That it's fully legal for their citizens to carry, and some of their citizens have not made no money, and they carry a firearm that shoots a projectile that could knock somebody out of life, that provides for whatever amount of people. You can laugh, you can say who cares, but I care about life. It's not a game. So there's important people that are in important positions that need to have an important thing like a firearm to protect that. And there's ones that are in ill positions with nothing to protect and only aggressive actions and actual decisions to make, that they have firearms and they're aggressively violating the law. And that's called violent crime. And that is the big thing that we are supposed to be targeting. Your kids are at the bagel place. You got the grocery. That kind of stuff doesn't happen around me because that's me and that's my politics. I'm StacksAMilli. And you would never see this kind of stuff happen in my community where New York, and they go to the thing and get shot up and crime scene unit. No, not with my politics. It doesn't. Because I know how to tackle violent crime. I'm a crime specialist. Whether you like it or not, whether I have the proper credentials or not, I was born to be it, I learned to be it, I earned to be it, and that's me. National Institute of Justice. Strength in Science, Advanced Justice. I'm all about advancing justice. Justice is when somebody has actually did something wrong, actually deserves to go to jail, and actually gets hit by the hammer. Something that actually takes effect positively in our society, not the counter opposite. That's true justice, real justice. You can feel justice when it is justice. Okay? The DOJ and things like that. Yeah, I say I'm with them. Well, what does that mean? I don't have to be over there with them. I don't have to be in the Department of Justice. I don't have to be sitting there in their chair. I have my own chair all the way over here because everybody has their own space nowadays. Everybody's interconnected. It's called the internet. It's a connection technology that we developed a long time ago where anybody can be anywhere in the world and still on the same network. So guess what? I am on the DOJ's network. And I understood that from the get-go. So when I say I'm with the DOJ, I'm with the DOJ all day. There's no leaving them.